Hi everyone, my name is Associate Professor Caroline Ellison and I'm the Program Director for the Bachelor of Social Science, Ageing and Disability. This is the first of a series of 3 videos looking at microenterprise, what it is, what the processes that Community Living Project here in South Australia use, and the potential impact of a microenterprise around the development of valued social roles. We'd like very much to thank the Department of Social Services for the ILC funding grant that is supporting this project, of which Helen Neale is the project lead. So welcome, Helen.
Thanks, Caroline. Thanks for having me.
Can I ask first, what is a microenterprise?
Good question. So a microenterprise is a form of customised employment, and it starts with the person, where a small business of a product or service is developed around the person based on their interests, their talents, their skills, and potentially their resources as well. So it starts with the person, and the work is crafted around the person, not the other way around, where a job is existing and a person is fitted into that.
So is this what we'd call a strengths-based model? So we'd be looking at the person's strengths, their gifts and talents and their interests, and building some sort of work-based, vocational base around that.
Yeah, and everybody has that. Everybody has that capacity and has skills and interests and talents. Sometimes we have to look a little bit harder, but they are there, and that's what we find is one of the major successes of having a microenterprise is the fact that it is so custom built. It is at that person, it's focusing on what they like to do, when they like to do it, where they want to do it, who they want to do it with. So it couldn't be more customised.
It's very unique, isn't it? Is there an age limit on... I know that at Community Living Project you focus on people living with disability. Could it be something that an older person or other areas of human service, youth at risk, etc., could be looking at a microenterprise as a means of an alternative approach to employment and the creation of value in a society or community?
Absolutely. And what we know is that in different cultures, this has been existing for a long time. You know, if there aren't support services and people need income, they will find a way to build a small business. But through my project that over the last 3.5 years, we've certainly been in touch with people in the return, people returning to civilian life after working in the army and the forces, helping them get back, sometimes building back their confidence or just finding a new avenue. People who are perhaps coming and maybe their existing qualifications aren't recognised. So refugees and migrants will look at that area. People in the compensable space who have maybe had catastrophic injuries as well, the return to work. So absolutely, it's not just disability, that's just what Community Living Project focus on, but there's no age limit, there's no gender, it's really about every unique person.
And it sounds like it's something too that doesn't exist within geographic boundaries.
No, not at all.
It's, you know.
No, I mean, I think what is important though is that there's a support team around the person that is sort of discovering whether this is going to be right for them and taking this on. That's helpful, but no, absolutely not. And certainly with the people that we've been assisting to consider this, as long as they've got a place and a space to start something, that could be a spare room or a garage, there can be very little resources needed as well. So it can be available to everybody. It's just about having that vision, I suppose, and really wanting to achieve something and assume capacity.
Are there microenterprises all around Australia in existence? I know that CLP, has for many years now and was probably one of the first organisations in Australia to really embrace microenterprise. But is there now a wider network of organisations nationally?
There is, but it's small, and it's small worldwide as well. I've recently spent some time with a business in America who contacted CLP for some advice and some they were helping an organisation to consider whether microenterprise would be a service that they would offer. So they'd done a lot of research and said there's not many people even worldwide. What we have done though is connected with some different organisations and capacity building organisations around Australia. And actually only last week I released a newsletter which shares some of the stories from around Australia for people who are interested in that space. But it isn't widely offered by providers. It's a very time-intensive process. So, but the ones who do it tend to do it well.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we've started seeing more social enterprises develop, and I think worldwide we're looking for alternative, more creative, innovative ways to meet people's individual goals and aspirations, which is an important part of SRV, social role valorisation. But you can see that this is a process that not everybody wants to just pick a job. And that's the same in the population of people without a disability. Not everybody works for someone else. Many people have their own business, so why should that not be accessible? So I think this is a really important concept for those students who are studying social work, psychology, social sciences, law, any of those, kind of programs that exist in justice and society. It's really important that we recognise that. But also some of the allied health areas like occupational therapy and rehabilitation need to also acknowledge that in exploring vocational and employment options for people post-catastrophic injury or post-chronic illness, that do look beyond what we understand as ADEs, Australian Disability Enterprises, where someone would, or open employment, and look into micro-enterprise. That may be a really important option for a client. So thank you for the background, Helen. Is there anything you want to add about MEP more globally before we...
No, but I think what you just touched on, the fact that it's an option, that's certainly what my role has been in this project, is to get out and share information about microenterprise as another option for people to consider. We really want to increase the pathways for people with disability. Certainly for people leaving school, they're often following a very sort of well-trodden path into traditional programs.
Yep. And
really, we want to increase those options just like someone without a disability would have. So
yeah, very exciting. I remember I went to a conference, the IACID conference a number of years ago and met Jacques Pellier from Canada, who started some really exciting micro-enterprises and social enterprises in Canada. And I was very excited when I came back from that conference to hear that CLP had decided to start that. So thanks, Helen. And
pleasure. We'll
end this video and we'll create another one in a minute that'll talk about what are some of the processes that CLP uses to help somebody explore and develop their micro-enterprise.